Good evening, class. My name is Daniel. This is Daniel Lee Yoga. Thank you for joining me. It is Monday evening. It's the start of a new week, and I appreciate you all being here today for a fundamentals focused class. In this class, in fundamentals, we're a little more gentle. We take our time and we really try to break down the poses just so you're more aware of the component parts and key actions that we're trying to reach in our more advanced poses. So, if you're new to yoga, this will be the perfect place to start. And even if you're more advanced, it's a great way to reinforce some of the key concepts that allow you to get deeper into your poses. So, I'm always starting the stream now, just making sure that everything looks okay and sounds okay. So, I ask if there is anyone that's watching now, if you could just check in and just leave me a comment in the chat just telling me that the stream looks okay. So hopefully we're good there. As you do that, then I will just kind of go on with the rest of what I have just to check in here. Oh, thank you, Lori, for letting me know. Welcome, Lori. Um, yeah, so this is fundamental focus. We're working on twisting poses this week. And so in our twisting poses, it's really important to twist at the right areas where we initiate our twists. And so we're going to be focusing on that today a lot as far as how we should twist, not just going from one place to the other without thinking. We want to be mindful in our approach to our twisting. So in twisting, that really allows us to massage the abdominal region. Really, when you twist and when you release, you get a nice rush of blood that flows into the body. It can also be kind of a detoxifying experience to twist, wring yourself out, and just let it all flow out. We're also going to be strengthening our legs and our hip flexors and our hamstrings, for increasing our balance and our coordination. Lots of good stuff this week. Um, as far as any other notes, we are back in Baltimore, back in Fells Point. Some of you locals may recognize the area here, but this is Fells Point out on one of the docks with, I think that's Under Armour in the background, one of their buildings back there. But I thought it was just a nice shot to use this week. So I think we're all set. Again, thank you for letting me know. Everything looks good. Last thing to mention is if you do have two blocks, they will come in handy today. Some of us don't need the blocks in the couple of poses we'll be in, but if you do have two blocks, just have them handy and go ahead and place them up at the top of your mat. You can always use Kleenex boxes, large books that are around the same size, anything that brings the ground a little bit closer to your hands that we'll use today. So I think we're ready to get started. Thanks again for joining me. Go ahead and get started on your back with your knees slightly bent. Okay, with your knees slightly bent on your back, hug your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around either your shins or your thighs, whatever is most accessible to you. And from here, gently rock from side to side, beginning to massage that lower back. Just rock from side to side. This is always a great way to get started with any class, with any exercise or movement that will be targeting the spine at any realm. Just gently rocking from side to side. Your knees don't need to come down to touch each side. Just do a couple more times each side. And then meet me back in the center with the knees hugged into your chest. Now wrap your hands around your right knee. Extend your left leg straight. Left heel comes to the ground. Left toes are flexed. So with flexing those left toes, they're going to point up towards the ceiling. Additionally, you can flex your right toes as well. Those will point up towards the ceiling. You're gently hugging your knee in towards your chest, extending that left heel away from your body. And let's switch. So now draw your left knee into your chest. Extend that right leg straight. Right heel comes to the ground. Flexing both feet so they point up towards the ceiling. Gently hug that left knee into your chest. Press and extend out through that right heel. Let's switch that up again. We'll pick up the pace slightly. So we'll extend that left leg out, hug that right knee into your chest on an inhale, and exhale as we switch, hugging the left knee into your chest, extending the right leg forward. And keep going back and forth on your breath, gently switching which leg comes in and which leg extends out. And just taking your time, you may be going a little bit slower or a little bit faster than I am. Just a way to connect with your breath. First time we're connecting breath to movement today. Finish with one more time each side. And then you can pause with your left knee in towards your chest and your right leg straight out. Now from this position, you can release your left arm out to the side, left palm faces up, and right hand stays at the top of the right knee. We're just going to come to that left knee. So the right hand stays to the outside edge of that left knee. And here comes our first twist. We're going to gently let that knee fall off to the side. So your knee is going to fall off to the right side. Left knee comes off to the right side, keeping your left hand extended out. Right leg is straight still. You're still flexing both feet. So the feet are coming back the toes are coming back towards your head. That left arm is extended out. This is our first little spinal twist here. Gently come back to center. So lift that left knee back up in toward your chest. Recenter your hips. And let's switch. So we're going to draw the right knee into our chest. Extend that left leg out, flexing both toes. This time we release our right arm out to our right side. Right palm is up. And gently let that right knee fall off to the left side. Might get a little bit of a crack back. My spine sometimes cracks during this. And you're just gently letting that right knee fall off to the side. And gently release that knee back up to center. We're going to switch and do one more time each side. So now we're going to draw that left knee back into our chest. Extend that right leg forward. Left arm out to the side. And let that left knee drop to the right side. You can use your right arm to help it over slightly. If you'd like this time, once you've let that knee fall off to the side, you can turn your neck to look over those left fingertips. We're here for just one breath. And inhale as you come back to center. We'll switch legs one more time. So this time we're going to draw a right knee into our chest, extending that left leg forward, flexing both feet. Right arm comes out to the side, right palm faces up, either in a T or a field goal shape. And then you let that right knee fall off to the left side. And don't worry if that knee doesn't come all the way to the ground. Mine doesn't. Just our first twist of the day, so just be gentle. Again, if you'd like, you can turn your neck to look over those right fingertips if you'd like. Otherwise, keep staring up towards the ceiling. One more breath here. And on your inhale, drive that right knee back into your chest. Hug that left knee back into your chest as well. So both knees are in towards your chest. Wrapping your arms around, giving one nice little squeeze here. And exhale. So gently release your knees. Feet come down to the ground. We're going to release our knees off to the side. So you can choose either left side or right side. And then use your top arm to press yourself up. We're coming into a cross-legged seated position. So meet me in this cross-legged seated position in whatever way works for you. In this seat, your legs are crossed at your shins. You're sitting up on your sit bones. And if you ever have any issues sitting up in a cross-legged seated position, you can always roll up the edge of your mat to give you a little bit of elevation. If you have blocks, you can sit up on top of blocks. If you have a spare towel, anything just to give you a little bit of elevation. Just make sure both sit bones are equally supported. So wherever you are, start with your palms resting on top of your knees. Take an inhale and exhale. One more inhale and exhale. All right, begin by extending both arms out to the side, palms face down. Now we're going to externally rotate our arms so the thumbs come up and back. Now the palms face up. So with our arms extended and our palms face up, now bend at the elbows so the fingertips come in either to the tops of the shoulders or maybe to the side of your head, whatever is most accessible for you. Now we want to keep our arms up in this pose and we're going to add a gentle twist. So here we go. Begin by inhaling as you lengthen, root down, and rise up through the crown of your head. Create some nice length in that spine. And then exhale, turn to your right. Coming back to center on your inhale. And exhale, turn to your left. Try to keep your arms up at shoulder height. Inhale back to center. And exhale to the right. Inhale back to center. And exhale to the right. Let's do that 2 more times each side. Inhale back to center. And exhale to the right. Inhale to center. And exhale to the left. One more time each side. Create a nice long spine here. Turning to the right. Inhaling back to center. And exhale, turn to the left. And back to center. Go ahead and just release your arms down to your knees for a second here. So we're going to do the same twists again, but the invitation here is to be more mindful to what area of your spine moves first. So our inner spinal region, our lumbar region, which is basically our lower back, we have very limited rotational ability there, only about 5 degrees of rotation, which is very limited. And so we kind of limit any twists there. We kind of try to reduce any twisting in the lumbar spine. So really where we want to start our twist is more at the thoracic region, starting with kind of your mid belly and up. So when you actually turn this time, I'd like you to turn from your middle thoracic, thoracic region up through your spine where you have in your neck the most mobility. So if you just turn your head to the left and the right, you'll notice it has the most mobility. You can really turn almost 180 degrees that neck. So I want the neck to be the last thing to turn, and your middle back is going to be the first thing to turn. So try and be aware of that in our next exercises here. So let's extend those arms out, palms face down. Externally rotate so the palms face up again. Bend at those elbows. Fingertips either come to the top of the shoulders or to the side of the head. Okay, here we go. So inhale as we lengthen, create a nice long spine. Exhale nice and slow, starting from the middle back. So your head doesn't move yet. It's just coming with your torso. Mid back through upper back. Once you can't turn your torso anymore, then you can turn that neck to look over those left fingertips or left arm. And gently release all of that back to center. Maybe that felt a little bit different. Let's try the other side. So inhale as we lengthen, and exhale as we turn. Starting again from that middle back, then through the upper. When you can't turn the torso anymore, then you can turn the neck to look over that right arm. Gently releasing back to center. Let's try one more time each side. So inhale as we lengthen through the spine. Exhale as we start the twist from our middle back, going up through the upper back. We can't turn the torso anymore, then we can turn the neck. So the neck is the last thing to turn, looking over the left arm. And gently releasing back to center. Inhale as we lengthen. And exhale, let's turn to our left, starting with the middle back, upper back, then we turn the neck to look over this, to look over that right arm. Stay for one more breath. And gently releasing back to center. Release the arms down to the sides. And place your hands on your knees again. And we're gently just going to roll the spine out while we're here. And so here we go. We're just going to send our heart forward and back. So we're going to make these gentle circles. You can just start in one direction. Try to keep both sit bones rooted while you do this. And we're just getting our whole spine in the party here. So we're just gently circling just to your capacity. One more time this way. And stop in the middle slowly, and we'll reverse that direction. So reverse whatever way you were going that first time. Just loosening up the spine even further here. Two more times this way. And gently release and slow down back to center. Stay for one more breath here as we inhale together. And exhale, release. Okay, we're coming into tabletop. So meet me in tabletop either by your hands coming forward and you uncross your knees, or you can let your knees fall off to the side and then you press yourself into a tabletop position. So in tabletop position, our hands are directly beneath our shoulders. Our knees and the tops of our feet are hips width distance, a little bit closer together, with the knees directly beneath the hips. So you'll notice all these 90-degree angles. Fingers should be nice and spread. Wrist creases of your hand should be lined up with that short edge of your mat, or maybe they're slightly turned out. Pressing down through the base of each finger and each palm just gently, and just a slight gentle press of the shins and the tops of the feet into the mat. Gaze can maybe be in between your fingertips or maybe a foot ahead. Slight tuck of the chin, and then hug your navel in and up towards that low spine, just starting with a neutral spine here. Take an inhale and exhale. Let's add some cow cats, again, warming up the spine again. So we're going to inhale as we drop our navel, send our heart forward, look up. And exhale as we round our back, separate the shoulder blades, let the head hang heavy. Cat. Reversing that, arching the back, heart comes forward, look up into your cow. And exhale, round the back, shoulders separate, head hangs heavy. Cat. Two more times each side on your breath, inhaling into your cow, exhaling into your cat. One more time each side, inhaling into your cow, and exhaling into your cat. Come back and meet me in neutral position with your hands beneath your shoulders, knees beneath your hips. Okay, so now we're going to add a little twist while we're here too. So shift a little bit of weight into your left arm. You're still staying in your tabletop, but we're now going to send our right arm out to the side. So start with your right arm directly out, right palm faces down. Now from here, you're going to twist your entire torso so that your arm comes with you, right fingertips face the ceiling. Exhale as you release that right arm down and under. Your right palm faces up, shoots underneath that left arm, and now it's coming out the left side of your body, gazes to the left. Inhale as we reverse that, send that arm out and up, fingertips towards the ceiling. Exhale as we gently curl under, right palm faces up as it goes under that left arm. Inhaling out, right palm faces out, fingertips up. And exhale as you gently curl under, right palm faces up. Let's do that one more time. Inhale out and up, arm faces up, fingertips to the ceiling. Exhale, curling back under, right palm faces up. And then just gently release that right palm back down to the ground. We'll switch sides. So again, make sure you're starting in your neutral position. Now shift some of the weight into that right hand. Extend that left arm out to the side, left palm faces down. Inhale as you extend the left fingertips up towards the ceiling, turning your torso. And exhale as you release that left arm down and under, left palm faces up. Inhale, extend left arm out, left palm faces away, fingertips to the ceiling. Exhale as you release that left arm under and out through the right side. 2 more times. Inhale as we extend out and up, left palm faces away. Exhale as we release under, left palm faces up. One last time here. Inhaling, extending out, left palm faces away. And exhale as we gently release underneath, left palm faces up. Okay, gently release that left hand back down to meet the right. And we're gently going to press our hips back towards our heels. We're coming into our first Balasana pose here. So in our Balasana child's pose, our hips come back towards our heels and the forehead comes to the mat. If your hips don't quite reach your heels and you like sitting up on a block or maybe a pillow, you can place that underneath your hips. Just gently see what works for you. Pressing the hips back towards the heels. Forehead rests on the mat or on a block or a pillow as well. And keep your arms extended out with the palms facing down. This is our child's or Balasana pose. This should be nice and restorative for you. You'll definitely still feel a stretch, but you shouldn't feel any pain or extreme sensation here. Child's pose is always a pose you can come back to at any time in your practice if you need a little bit of a break, reconnect with your breath, or you just need a quick time out to catch your breath before joining us in the rest of class. So just remember this pose, keep it in your back pocket. Stay for one more breath here. And exhale. Now begin to raise your forehead back up. Lift your hips back up. Come back into your tabletop position here. From your tabletop, we're now going to tent up on our fingertips. So you're now in tabletop now on your fingertips. Now with that right leg, we're going to curl those toes under, stretch that right leg back so the right leg is straight, and gently release that right knee back down to the ground. Do that again. Same leg, right leg back, right leg straight, and gently release back down. 2 more times. Extend that right leg back, right heel presses back. Gently release. And pressing that right leg back, straightening, press the heel back, and gently release. Let's do the other side. Extend that left leg back, press the left heel back, gently release. Left leg straightens, left heel presses back, and release. 2 more times. And release. One last time here, straightening that left leg, curling, pressing the left heel back, and gently release. Okay, now coming back to the right side, let's straighten that right leg back, press the right heel. Now this time you're going to bend your right knee, send it into your chest, and see if you can step that right foot to the top of your mat, in between both fingertips. Start to shift some weight forward, curl that left toe under, and now you're going to raise that left knee up and step the left foot up to meet the right foot. Now you're in your standing forward fold here. In your standing forward fold, have your feet hips width distance, heels behind the center toes. Knees can be bent as much as you'd like. As far as your hands, they can either rest on your thighs if you're up here. If you're able to fold a little bit lower, your fingertips can come to the ground, or maybe your palms on the ground. If you've made a connection with the ground and then you want to then start straightening your legs, you can do that. But for here, you can have your knees as bent as much as you'd like. Stay for a breath here. And exhale. Let's come into ragdoll pose. Clasp opposite elbows with either of your hands. And let your head hang heavy. Chin is slightly tucked. Neck is long. Have your knees slightly bent, and you can gently rock from side to side. A ragdoll here, we're just gently rocking from side to side. Creating length in that spine, letting the head hang heavy. You're just gently pressing the feet into the mat to give you stability. And just gently come back to center. Meet me in center and stillness. Gently release the clasp of your elbows, letting your head and your arms hang heavy.
We're coming up to standing, but take your time. We're going to roll up one vertebrae at a time. So press down through your feet and begin to rise up from the lower back, one vertebrae at a time. Your head is the last thing to arrive up. Take your time.
And once you arrive up to standing, just shrug those shoulders up and back a little bit. Just shake it out a little. Yeah. Okay, coming back to the top of the mat if you're not already there. Have your feet hips width distance, heels behind those center toes. Arms down at the sides, palms face forward. Gently soften those shoulders away from the ears. Slight tuck of the chin. Root down through your feet and rise up through the crown of your head. This is our mountain pose. Take an inhale here and exhale. Let's raise the arms overhead on our inhale, palms touch, look up. And exhale, we're going to forward fold. Bend the knees, hinge at your hips, and release down into your forward fold. Now place your hands on top of your shins. Start to straighten your back. We're coming up halfway lift. Slight tuck of the chin. The idea here is now your torso is parallel with the mat. Start with your knees bent, and then you can start to straighten. Gently bend the knees, release back down into your standing forward fold. And then we're coming back up to stand. Lift the arms out and up. Press yourself up through your feet, arms overhead, look up. And exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. Let's do that again. Inhale, arms out and up overhead. And exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, place the hands to the shins, slight tuck of the chin, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And then coming back up to standing on our inhale, arms out and up, overhead, look up, palms touch. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. One more time here. Inhale, arms out and up, overhead, palms touch. Exhale, forward fold, knees can bend, hinge at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back, knees can still be bent, torso parallel to the mat. Exhale, forward fold, knees bend. Back up to standing, inhale, arms out and up, chest up, look up. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the side. Take a breath here. Now let's add on a little bit to that. So you're still at the top of your mat, feet or hips width distance, arms down to your sides now, palms face forward. Inhale the arms out and up, overhead, palms touch. Exhale, forward fold, knees can bend. Inhale, halfway lift, place the hands to the shins, flat back. And exhale, forward fold, knees can bend. This time, place both palms on the mat. Bend your knees as much as you need to make that happen. Then you're going to step your right leg back, drop your knee to the ground, step your left leg back, and drop that knee to the ground. So now we're in kind of a modified tabletop or plank pose here. So notice that in our tabletop, traditionally we have our knees under our hips, but here we have our knees farther back, so it creates a little bit more of an angle here. So from here, we're going to shift our torso forward. So as we shift forward, we're going to bend our elbows back. So not bending out, we're going to bend our elbows back as we lower our entire torso and forehead gently to the mat. Taking your time to get there. Once you arrive down here, we're going to uncurl the back toes. So now the tops of the feet press into the mat. Press your hip bones into the mat. And on your next inhale, lift your head up and your chest up into a baby cobra. It's a slight back bend here. We're drawing the backs of the shoulder blades together. Draw the elbows together. Send your heart forward. And gently release your forehead to the mat. Curl the back toes under. Press your hands into the mat. We're going to lift our hips up and our chest up into our modified table. And then from here, just take a breath. Now tent up on those fingertips again. We've been here before.
We have our right leg curled under. We're going to send that right leg up to the top of the mat. Left toes are curled under. Send that left foot to the top of the mat as well. We're in our forward fold again here. In our forward fold, we'll come up halfway, so place the hands to the shins, extend out, nice flat back, and exhale, forward fold again. Inhale, arms out and up, chest up, look up, and exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. We're going to do that again, but we're going to add on to it. So this time, inhale, arms out and overhead, palms touch. Exhale, forward fold, knees can bend. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back, hands to the shins. And exhale, forward fold. Place your hands to the mat. Step that right foot back. This time, keep your knee up. Step that left foot back. We're in our plank. And just drop to your knees if you need to. Otherwise, stay in your plank for 2 breaths. Again, you can drop to your knees if you'd like. Okay, now everyone drop to your knees. We're going to shift our torso forward, bend our elbows back as we lower all the way to the mat as one piece. Uncurling the back toes, pressing the tops of the toes into the mat. Press the hips into the mat. And again, lifting in our next inhale, the chest and the heart up. Try to keep the low ribs on the mat. We're looking for more length here rather than height. Keep drawing the elbows and the backs of the shoulder blades together. Slight tuck of the chin, gaze is forward. And gently release as you exhale. Curling those back toes under. Press the hands into the mat. Keep hugging those elbows in as you press yourself up through that modified tabletop again here. Now tent up on those fingertips again. Let's send that left leg forward this time. So left knee comes up, left foot comes to the top of the mat. This time we're going to keep our left leg forward here. And this is where if you have blocks, they can come in handy here. So if you have blocks, you can place them to either edge at the top of your mat, to either side of that left foot. So start with that left knee, make sure it's on top of that left ankle and you're not too far forward here. If you need to, you can always place a little bit more cushion underneath that right knee, either a towel, a shirt, another mat. You can even roll up the mat that you have and place it under that knee for a little bit of extra cushion. We'll be here for a minute here. So if you have your blocks or your tissue box or your books or whatever you have, that's great. If you don't need them, you're on your fingertips or on your palms here. We're going to make this a little bit dynamic now. So we're forward here now with our chest up, looking forward. Now we're going to send our hips back. Try to keep your hips neutral here. As you start to send your hips back, that front leg starts to straighten. When that front leg straightens, just moving my arms so you can see, we're now going to flex that front foot. So the left toes start to come up towards the ceiling. This is our second pose here with both of our arms straight. Now exhale as you send your heart forward, rebend that front knee, send the heart up, look up. Exhale, let's send our hips back, straightening that front leg, flexing those left toes. And gently sending your heart forward, rebending the knee, look up, and gently send the hips back, straightening that front leg, flexing those left toes. Let's do that 2 more times each side. We're coming through our low lunge here with our knees bent and shifting the hips back, flexing that left toes. This is half Ardha Hanumanasana pose. One more time forward. Coming back, hips over heel, flexing those left toes. And then meet me in our forward, in our low lunge here with that left leg forward. So release the blocks for now. Tent up on those fingertips. Have that right toe curled under. Let's send that right foot up to meet the left foot. We're in our forward fold here. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale the arms out and overhead, coming back up to standing. Look up, palms touch.
And exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. You're going to keep moving. Inhale, arms overhead, palms touch. Exhale, forward fold, hands come down, knees can bend. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. And exhale, forward fold, plant your palms. This time, step your left leg back, keep your left knee up if you can. Send that right leg back. We're in our plank pose again. We're holding for 2 breaths. If you need to, you can drop to your knees. Otherwise, we're here for 1 more breath. Our shoulders over our wrists wherever we are. And now everyone drop to your knees. Shift the torso forward, bend the elbows back, and lower all the way to the mat. Uncurl those back toes so the tops of the feet come to the mat. Press the hips into the mat. And on your next inhale, lift your heart up and your chest up into your baby cobra. And keeping those low ribs down, hug those outer ankles in. Draw the backs of the shoulder blades together. 1 more breath here. And exhale, gently release. Curl those back toes under. Press your hips up and back into that modified tabletop. We're going to tent up on our fingertips again. This time we're going to send our right leg forward. So right knee comes into the chest and comes to the top of your mat. If it doesn't make it there, you can always wiggle it up to the top. Start with your right knee over that right heel. And again, if you have blocks, you can place them to either side of that right foot. Otherwise, you can keep your fingertips or your hands on the mat, whatever works for you. Okay, so this is our top pose and our opposing one. We're going to send our hips back, starting to straighten that front leg, flexing those right toes. And sending our hips back and forward with the knee over that right ankle. Shifting the hips back again, straighten that front leg, flexing those right toes. And shift back forward, knee over the ankle. Shifting the hips back over that back heel, straightening that front leg, flexing those front toes. And back to our low lunge, knee over ankle. Let's do this 2 more times. Shifting the hips back, straightening the front leg, flexing those toes. And shifting forward, knee over ankle. 1 last time. Shift those hips back, straighten that front leg, flex those right toes. And shifting forward, meeting me in our low lunge with your knee over that ankle. And shift, send the blocks off to the side if you've been using them. Tenting up on those fingertips. Curl that back toe under if it's not already. Lift that back knee up, and then send that back foot to meet the front foot when we're standing forward fold here. Now inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Let's come back up to standing, press down through your feet. Inhale as the arms come out and up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. Okay. Now we're going to take a wide-legged stance. So facing the long edge of your mat, separate your feet out to about 1 leg's distance apart, or maybe 3 to 4 feet apart. Just to a point where you're still comfortable in your stability here. Place your hands at your hips and start with your feet parallel with your heels behind your center toes. Take an inhale here and exhale. Now, turn your heels in and have your toes face out. Looking for a 45-degree angle so the toes face out and the heels come in, and your hands are back at your hips. We're coming into a goddess pose, so start with your hands at your hips. We're going to bend our knees. We're going to lower our hips down. Try when you bend your knees to track those knees over the ankles. Try not to let your knees fall in. You're bending the knees out to your ankles, and you still want a nice long spine here. So you're just lowering to your capacity and then straightening those legs. So now we're straightening. Exhale as we bend the knees. Try to have those knees track over the ankle. And inhale back up, straightening those legs. 2 more times here. Bending the knees over the ankles. And back up, straightening the legs. Try to keep a nice long back through this. One more time, bending those knees over the ankles and straightening both legs straighten. Okay, we're going to re-bend those knees, coming back down into our goddess pose. You may be a little bit farther up or a little bit lower. Go where it works for you. Now you're going to release both hands to the tops of your shins, or the thighs, I should say, just above your knees. Now here you can start to let your chest come forward a little bit and have your balance and stability through your hands. We're going to add a twist here. So let your left shoulder come down and your right shoulder open. We're going to twist the torso and look up towards the ceiling over that right shoulder. Inhale back up to center. And exhale, switch to the other side. So this time let the right shoulder drop. Left shoulder opens, looking over this left shoulder up towards the ceiling. Inhaling back to center. Let's twist again. Drop the left shoulder. Look up over that right shoulder towards the ceiling. Inhaling back up to center. Exhaling as we twist again. Drop the right shoulder. This time look over that left. Inhaling back to center. Let's do one more time each side. Dropping the left shoulder. Raising the right shoulder up. Looking over. Releasing back to center. Keep pressing down through the feet. Drop the right shoulder. Lift the left shoulder up. Look over. And gently come back to center. Place your hands back on your hips, straighten those feet, extending those legs, I should say, straightening the legs. And we're coming back to where we started. So now heel toe those feet in, back to hips width distance. And let's come back to the top of your mat. So back to the top of your mat, feet are hips width distance, heels behind those center toes. Arms are down to the side, palms face forward. Just soften the shoulder blades away from the ears. Take an inhale here and exhale. Let's inhale, send the arms overhead, palms touch. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, flat back, parallel to the mat. And exhale, forward fold. Place both hands to the mat, bend your knees as much as you need to. Let's extend that left leg back first. Try to keep those left knee off the ground. If not, you can drop it. Extend that right knee back. Right foot meets the left. We're in our plank pose again. We're here for 3 breaths now. If you need to, drop to your knees. Either way, you should have your shoulders over your wrists, pressing those heels back towards the mat. Feet are hips width distance. One more breath here. And now everyone drop to your knees. Shift your torso forward, bend the elbows back, and lower all the way to the mat. From here, uncurl those back toes. This time, extend your arms back beside you. Forehead is still to the mat. And palms are down. So now palms are down on the mat. Forehead is on the mat. This time we're going to try and lift up without having help from our arms beside us. So we're still going to press our tops of the feet into the mat. Press the hips into the mat. And on your inhale, keep your hands down. Lift your head up and your chest up into your baby cobra again, but this time with our arms back. So this is more of a modified locust pose. Keep the bottom ribs on the ground. Keep drawing the backs of the shoulder blades together. Hands are still on the ground. They can lightly press. Send the heart forward. Slight tuck of the chin. One more breath here. And gently release your forehead to the mat. Place your hands back beside your chest on either side. Make sure your wrists are directly below your elbows. Curling those back toes under. Press your hands into the mat. Lift back up into your modified tabletop here. And from here, we're going to tent up on our fingertips again. This time we'll start with the left again. So we're going to extend that left leg back. Pressing the left heel back, straightening that left leg. And then we're going to draw the left knee into our chest, send that left foot to the top of the mat. Now, once we have this, again, if you need to put padding under that right knee, you can. Now, release that right hand to the to the mat. You can either use a block or a fingertip, so it's coming in a little bit where your right hand is directly beneath your right shoulder. So if you need a block or a book or whatever you have, you can place it there. Once you have your hand nice and rooted, try to pin both outer hips up and in to give you stability. You're hugging both hips in towards that midline. Once you have this, extend your left arm out, left palm faces down, and then twist your entire torso to the left, up and towards the sky. Lift those left fingertips up towards the sky. You're in our twist here now in our low lunge. Stay for one more breath here. And exhale, gently release that left hand down to the outside edge of that left foot. Release the block off to the side. Come up on those fingertips. Send that left foot back, left knee meets the right, and we'll switch to the other side now. So this time extend the right leg back, right heel presses back. Bend that right knee into your chest, send that right foot to the top of the mat. If it doesn't reach there in the first try, don't worry, you can send it up. Make sure that right foot is also on the right side of the mat and that left knee and left foot are on the left side. Have that right knee on top of the left heel. And if you have a block, again, you can place that underneath your left hand, where your left hand is directly beneath your shoulder now. If you don't have a block, you can tent up on your fingertips or your palm can come to the mat. Now, again, hug those hips in towards each other. You want to pin those hips in, hug them in and up to give you that stability. Hugging them in towards the midline, extend that right arm out, right palm faces down to start. And then turning your entire torso, that right hand, right fingertips come up towards the ceiling. Maybe your gaze looks up at those right fingertips. Again, keep hugging those outer hips in towards each other. That's going to give you the stability you need. One more breath here. And exhale, gently release that right arm down to the outside edge of that right foot. Release the block off to the side. Tent up on those fingertips. And now we're going to send that left foot up, that left knee up. Send that left foot up to the top to meet the right. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms out to the side and up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest. Inhale, arms out and up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold, knees can bend. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold, place your palms to the mat. Step your right leg back, keep that right knee up if you can. Step that left foot back. We're in our plank pose now for 4 breaths. If you need to, you can always drop to your knees. Wherever you are, make sure your shoulders are over your wrists. Your heels are pressing back. Feet or hips with distance. Keep hugging the ankles in towards each other, but keep those ankles over those toes. One more breath here. And everyone, gently release your knees to the mat. Shift your torso forward, bend the elbows back, lower all the way to the mat. Uncurl those back toes. This time, your arms come down to your sides again, forehead to the mat. This time, your pinkies are up in the air and your thumbs are down on the ground. So your palms are hugging in towards your hips. Pinkies up, thumbs down. Lift your shoulders off your back. Press your tops of the feet and the hips into the mat, and on your next inhale, lift your head up and your chest up into your modified locust pose. If you'd like, you can try to lift your arms up as well. Either way, your arms are either on the mat or they're off the mat, hugging in towards each other. Draw the backs of the shoulder blades. One more breath here. And exhale, gently release your forehead and your arms to the mat. Place the palms beside the chest again. Fingers forward, wrists are directly beneath the elbows. Curl those back toes under. Lift the hips up and to tabletop. We're going to tent up on those fingertips again. This time extend the right leg back, straighten that right leg, press the right heel back. Hug the right knee into your chest, send that right foot up to the top of the mat. Now again, place some padding below your left knee if you need it. And we're starting just like we were before with that right knee tracking over that right ankle, placing a block or a book underneath that left arm. Have your left arm directly beneath that left shoulder. Now here we go. Extend your right arm out, palm faces down. Hug both hips in towards each other. Raise that right arm to the sky. Right fingertips come to the sky. Now we're here for a couple breaths. You have the option to stay here, or if you like, we're going to lift our torso up so that it's perpendicular to the mat. So if you're coming up with me, keep hugging, pinning both thighs in towards each other. Come up on your fingertips and then lift your torso up. You're staying in your twists. So now your right arm comes back, your left arm comes forward, looking to the side. Maybe turn to look over those right fingertips. Again, keep hugging and firming those thighs in towards each other. That'll give you more lift here. One more breath. And gently, if you're up, release that left hand back down to your block. Right arm up. And then everyone release that right arm out to the side and down. Place that block off to the side, back up on your fingertips. We're going to switch to the other side. So send that right leg back to meet the left, toes curled under. Extend that left leg back, straighten that left heel. Bend that left knee into your chest. Send that left foot up to the top of the mat. So you know where we're going here. Placing the block if you'd like. Hand is directly beneath that shoulder, so you have a nice long arm here. Either pressing your palm or your fingertips into the mat if you don't have a block. Now again, we're pinning these thighs in towards each other. That really gives us the stability we need in our twists. Starting with the left arm out to the side, left palm down. Take an inhale. And exhale as you twist the entire torso. Left arm comes up towards the ceiling, fingertips to the sky. Keep pinning those thighs in. We're here for a couple breaths. You can stay here if you'd like. Keep pinning those legs in. Tent up on those right fingertips and then lift the torso up. Left arm comes back. Right arm comes forward. Both arms are shoulder height. Extend both fingertips away from each other. Palms face out. Maybe you turn your neck to look over those left fingertips. Keep hugging in. Press down through that left heel. And gently, if you're up, release that right arm down. Left arm to the sky. And then everyone release the left arm out to the side and down. Send that block off to the side. Tent up on those fingertips. Send the left foot to meet the back foot. Uncurl the back toes so the tops of the toes come to the mat. Release down to your palms. Press your hips back towards your heels. We're coming back into our child's pose, our balasana. We were here before. Make it your balasana. If you'd like to separate your knees out, separate your feet, just make it, just play around with it. We'll be here for a couple breaths as we start to wind down. So just make it your child's pose. Just take some nice, long, deep breaths in your child's pose. One more breath here. Begin to lift your forehead off the mat. Walk your hands back up. You're going to shift your legs off to the side. We're coming onto our backs. Just get there very gently. Just resting on your back with your knees slightly bent. Like where we started practice, on our backs, knees bent. This time with your knees bent, walk your feet back in towards your hips so that your ankles are directly below your knees. Once you have your knees and your feet hips width distance with your ankles below your knees, place your arms down to the side, palms face down beside each hip. We're coming into tabletop pose. So begin by pressing both feet into the mat. Press your arms and your palms into the mat. And on your next inhale, lift your hips up, lift your chest up, lift your pelvis up into your bridge pose here. Keep pressing down through your feet.
And try to spin your inner thighs in and down to keep your knees closer to each other. Your knees gently start to separate, so spin those thighs in and down to keep the knees hips width distance. Press the shoulders into the ground. Lift your chin away from your chest and your chest toward your chin. One more breath here. And gently release from the top of your spine, gently rolling down. Low back is the last to arrive. Stay here for a breath. And exhale. Now heel toe your feet out to the width of the mat. So your feet are now separated, and then you let your knees fall into touch. So your knees are touching, your feet are out to the width of the mat. Arms come out to the side this time, palms face up, either in a T or a field goal shape. And we're gently going to let the knees rock from side to side. So let your knees fall off to one side, and let them both fall off to the other. Just be gentle and take your time here. Again, both knees may not touch the ground. Don't worry about that. Again, we're just letting the spine do its thing with a nice little twisting here. Now, the next time both knees are off to the right side, you can just gently let your knees fall off to the right, and we'll stay here for a couple breaths here. Your gaze can either be up towards the ceiling, or you can turn your neck to look over those left fingertips. Try to keep your left shoulder on the ground here in this full spinal twist. One more breath here. And exhale. Gently draw your knees back up to center. Gaze comes up towards the ceiling. And keeping your feet wide and your knees touching. Then you let your both knees fall off to the side. So now your knees are separated. Gaze is either up towards the ceiling or looking over your right fingertips. Full spinal twist here. Try to keep that right shoulder on the ground. And we're here for one last breath. Okay, gently draw your knees back up to center. Heel toe your feet back into hips width distance. Separate your knees to hips width distance. And then draw your knees into your chest one last time. Hug your arms around your thighs or your shins. Give a nice little squeeze here. Maybe lift your chin and your shoulders off the ground. Give yourself a nice squeeze, hugging everything in. And exhale as you gently release. Let's extend the legs straight out, arms overhead. One last full body stretch here. Stretching your toes away from your hands, your fingertips away from your feet. Last full body stretch. Stretch it out. And gently release. Let your arms come down to your sides. Palms face up. So your hands are beside your hips. Let your legs be long and heavy, letting your knees and your feet fall out to the side. We're coming into our final pose of the practice here, our Shavasana pose. A time to release, time to reflect, time to let any attachment to our practice go. Letting your whole body hang heavy and melt into the mat. Your eyes can start to soften or your gaze can close completely. Release. Release any attachment to your breath. Release any last little bit of tension you may have in your body. And just be.
And gently bring some awareness back into your body. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes, rotate your wrist and your ankles, switch directions in those rotations, and come back to stillness for one last breath here. Now turn on to one side of your body. Maybe you gently bend your knees as you turn onto one side. The top arm meets the bottom, top knee rests on top of the bottom. Stay here for one last breath on your side. Try to keep your gaze softened or your eyes closed as you use your top arm to press yourself up. We're going to meet in a comfortable cross-legged seated position to complete our practice today. Once you're in your comfortable cross-legged seat, you can place your palms on top of your knees. Palms can face up, or bring your hands into the center of your chest. Thank you for joining me in practice today. The light and love in me acknowledges and honors the light and love in each one of you. Thank you. Peace. Thank you all for joining me in practice this Monday evening. I hope it was a great way to start the week. If you have any questions, you can always ask me in the chat, leave a comment on the videos. My contact information is also in the video description. This week, I have a special class tomorrow evening. It's at 6 p.m. And that class is through a great organization called Free Baltimore Yoga. You can search for their Facebook group on Facebook. So I'm actually going to be streaming that through Facebook. So if you do have a Facebook account, you can look for that. They're a great organization. They typically hold classes outside in different spaces throughout the year. And obviously now they're just doing the live streaming classes, but it's a great Baltimore organization bringing more free yoga to people. So you can check me out on that. Otherwise, classes will still be normal time this week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. and Friday at 7 p.m. as well. Tomorrow's class will be similar to this. It'll be an all levels gentle flow. So again, thank you again for joining me. Take exactly how you feel now and take it out into the world and into the rest of your week now. Hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you again. My name is Daniel. Peace.